My mother and dad had a hard life. Uh, Mother had barely a high school education. My dad taught school, um, but the pay wasn't all that great, and he had to do a lot of other things to help ends meet. Taught woodworking. He worked in the summertime. He built houses. He worked for the Department of Agriculture on occasion. Um, And as a result, both because he was so busy trying to make a living and because he was a quiet, introverted kind of a guy, um, I didn't think he was very emotional. Later, I realized he just didn't trust his emotions. But as a result of all of that, we did spend a lot of time together. One time I do remember, stands out. I was 12, 13 years old, and in the summer, Mr. Woodall, Dad worked for, took us up in his truck to Lake Jordan. Jordan Lake was a lake that was formed by the Alabama Power Company on the Tallapoosa River. It's a large lake, several miles across. And we had took with us just a couple of blankets and a frying pan and some cornmeal and stuff like that. Dad said we'd catch our food. I wasn't too sure, but I trusted him. We found a couple of old rusty springs, bed springs that had been discarded, slept in the open. In the morning, Dad would make coffee. We would have breakfast. And then we'd go out about halfway of a bridge, it's about a mile across the narrow end of the lake, and fish. And we caught all the fish we wanted. Sometimes we'd get a little too eager, and we caught more than we needed. And then we'd sit around in the late afternoon, early evening, and around make a fire, and Dad would tell stories, and it was wonderful. But been there about a couple of days, and Dad said, we need to get some things at the store. And he said, I think there's a store across the end of the bridge and just over the hill. So we walked across the bridge, it's about a mile, and then we walked up the hill, and there was no store. And Dad said, well, I know there's a store around here someplace. Must be the next hill. So we walked another long way for me and climbed the hill, and no store. And so we kept on walking, and we finally got there. I remember when we got to the store, we bought some Vienna sausage and crackers and I got a couple of candy bars and a Pepsi. I put it in my little Army surplus canteen that we were using in the Boy Scouts. And we walked back. I don't know how far we walked, but it was and the store wasn't just over the hill. As time went on, years went by, every once in a while Dad would start to give me directions about something, and I would interrupt him, and I'd say, you mean it's just over the hill? And we'd laugh. We found a boat that was about half sunk. I got the water out of it, found a couple of planks that we used as paddles, and paddled across the lake at the wide end. And I remember that particularly because we had to bail water all the way, and as we came back, we were only about 15, 20 feet from the shore when the boat sank. Shallow enough that we didn't have to swim, but we waded ashore and let the boat go. And at the end of the week, Mr. Woodall came, picked us up in his truck, and we went home. Nothing dramatic about all of that. We didn't have television or iPods or computers or anything to distract us. nothing for entertainment except ourselves, and nothing exciting happened. A long walk to a store that was just over the hill, all the fish we could eat, and that's about it. But it's a memory that I will cherish forever. It was probably the most significant time I ever spent with my dad. In this day and age, I guess you would say we bonded. Whatever. It was good time.